On this week's show, Christian Vande Velde is teaching classes again, and there will be no live classes next week.
Plus a new Aerosmith artist series, the virtual queue for booking is gone, and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 172 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. I'm John Pruitt, joined as always by my co-host Amanda Siegel. Hey, Amanda.
Hey, John. How you doing?
Good and rainy. Michigan currently right now. We're a little wet.
Oh, is it? Yeah, it's pretty overcast. Yeah, it's warm though. It's so nice to be warm. Oh my goodness. Spring is definitely in the air here in Maryland. So
feels nice.
It does feel nice. We're rogue this week, John. We don't have Big Brother watching us.
I know.
We can kind of say whatever we want.
I feel like there's still a lot. I feel like they're still lurking behind the scenes.
They're still
listening.
Still watching. But but it's just you and us. And truthfully, I can't believe I'm actually saying it, but this week there really isn't that much to talk about. There are a couple things we want to share with you this week, and lots of instructor in the news stuff. The instructors have been incredibly busy, so we have lots of stuff.
A lot of quick hits.
Yeah, lots of them going on. But as far as the news goes, there isn't much. So I don't see why we don't get right into it. We always like to remind you before we get started with the news how to keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is released on the YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand side of the video and hit the notify button to make sure that you never miss an episode.
And of course, you can listen to us if you're on the go. We are on all traditional podcast platforms. And please leave us a review. We love receiving those 5-star reviews, and we love to read them on the show. And we also appreciate a lot of the feedback and ways we can improve and enhance the show. So please keep those coming.
We definitely take those into consideration. So thanks. And of course, folks, we're on all social media platforms. So Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok. Just search for Pelo Buddy and follow us on those platforms for all the latest news. And now let's get on with the show.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
All right, so first up, former professional cyclist Christian Vande Velde is back teaching classes at Peloton. Last Saturday morning, he was in the studio doing Matt Wilper's 90-minute Power Zone endurance ride. And during the class, Matt announced, they shined a light on Christian, spotlight on him during the class in the studio. Matt announced that Christian would be teaching classes again in 2024. And Christian was mic'd up and he gave a few comments during the class. But the big thing was that Christian was teaching the next morning, a special 45-minute pro cyclist ride. It happened at noon. I actually did it live. I think Chris Lewis was on that one with me as well.
Oh, nice.
It was a fun ride. It was, he had a good mix, a good playlist. He started out with AC/DC's Back in Black. He played Rufus Du Sol's On My Knees Again, some Mr. Brightside, Lenny Kravitz's Are You Gonna Go My Way? Christian, who I guess is sometimes referred to in the Peloton community as just CBB, he has not taught a Peloton class since the 23rd Street days at the old studio in Chelsea, which was back in March of 2020. He's been considered a guest instructor, and he's remained listed as a guest instructor on the Peloton website.
I was just going to ask you that. Yeah, I was just going to ask you that.
Which gave a lot of people hope that he would eventually return again. Historically, he would teach classes every 2 to 3 months, kind of like on a quarterly basis, previously back at the old studio. But at this time, it's not really clear how often he's going to be back guest teaching. If we'll have a regular, time slot, or if they'll just, squeeze them in when they can. But in that class that Matt was teaching, that Saturday class where they made the announcement, they both said they were looking forward to his classes being a little more consistent or structured. So Christian's appearances might actually be more frequent on a somewhat regular basis. But his classes had slowly been getting purged over the last year due to Peloton's regular library class maintenance. And at one point, every single one of them had ended up being removed. But recently, Peloton had quietly added 2 of his classes back to the library, which are the only 2 available in addition now to the one he just taught last weekend. So he's got 3 total in the library. And people seem to, I heard just all positive things about the class.
Nice.
It was a little, I don't know if I just had, I've never done a CVV ride before. I was
just going to ask you that. Yeah, I was just going to ask you if you'd ever done it before.
Back then I wasn't, I'm not really into Power Zone now, but back then I was definitely not into Power Zone or that structure, that format of class. So I kind of had, I don't know what my expectations were, but he didn't do any shout outs at all, which I don't know if that's the norm for his classes. So that was a little different. And then there wasn't really, aside from Matt, who was in the class riding with him when he was teaching it, that was the only kind of real interaction he had with anyone in the studio.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a little different. I'm sure a lot of people love the fact that there's no, it takes him out of the class. Sometimes people prefer that. So,
do you know, John, is he still pro? Does he still ride?
No, I think he is
retired.
He works as a commentator, I think, for NBC Sports, as a commentator on the pro cycling events.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I must be honest, other than knowing he was, had been on the schedule in the past, I really don't know much about him.
He's retired. He's married with 2 kids. And I think it's NBC, I want to say.
Okay.
According to his Insta
I guess
profile.
We'll keep you guys updated as stuff comes in as to whether or not he becomes a more permanent fixture and whether folks can do live classes with him, whether he'll be added into the rotation as far as studio classes go. I'm sure there'll be folks that will definitely want to be in studio with him. I'm sure, those that take this a little bit more seriously. Well, welcome back, Chris. I'm happy to have you. Christian. Does he go by Christian? He does go by Christian. All right, I wasn't sure. All right, well, welcome back, and we'll keep you guys posted as things move along. All right, well, with that being said, keeping you guys posted, just a reminder that both PSNY and PSL are dark this week with live classes. They will resume with a live schedule on Tuesday, April 22nd. So from Monday, there will be no members in the studio. There will be no live classes. There will only be encores, and then premieres will be dropping. And a lot of the instructors have hinted over the last, week or 2 or 3 that they have been recording a ton of content. So we know that
I heard Maddie said his walk and talk for next week will be.
Yep, will be. So there's a ton of content that will be dropping that will be brand new. Just not live, and certainly no members in the studio. So just a reminder for those folks that is happening. And then for anyone that has attempted to book in studio classes in the past few months, you may have noticed that one doesn't need to log in hours in advance of the classes going live. At noon in order to bypass the queue, or that you get dumped in the queue if you get in, like an hour or so beforehand. When Peloton moved to their new booking platform back in December, the virtual queue actually disappeared quietly as their new platform Team Up can support a much larger volume of folks signing on. So they really didn't say anything. It just kind of happened. I had noticed it and was getting on later and later if I was looking to book. But in fact, Chris did get confirmation from Peloton. They did reach out and confirm that, in fact, members should not expect the queue and that it should probably not return. So I have to say it's huge. not having to, be on
So
there.
you're a fan of the no number in line.
I am absolutely a fan of it. I'm absolutely a fan of it because I honestly would spend my whole Thursday morning sitting, refreshing, and, just so I could bypass the queue and be straight into the booking system, if I got on there early.
And if you're wanting to do a class, take a live class, it totally
messed it up. I mean, as it is, doing a 12 o'clock noon class on a Thursday sucks. If you want
Selena,
to book.
that's prime Selena boot camp time for me.
Right. So that definitely sucks. So, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's easier to get a class now. It's still very hard to book a class. And there are also some technical issues. I mean, often when you hit that refresh at noon, it freezes up. There are definitely stuff that needs to get worked on. So,
do you
folks
recommend,
are saying,
see, you're kind of a pro. See, I've only gone on a couple times to book classes.
Yeah.
Do you recommend being on a full desktop computer?
Yes.
As opposed to an iPad or an iPhone?
I do. I just think you get to see the screen better, the way the system is set up, by the week. It's just easier to do it on a desktop. I don't love booking on my phone.
Okay.
I still struggle. I must be honest. I mean, I am actually in the studio this weekend, and I was only able to get, at time of booking, one class. I knew I wanted to ride. I knew I wanted to ride with Alex. I knew that I was going to have a milestone. So I went, I filtered by Alex and cycling. And then by the time I tried to get my next class, which was Maddie, I got on the wait list. It was a 60-minute. Now, I did get off the wait list earlier in the week. So I know that I have 2 confirmed classes. And then I will be in Mariana's class on Sunday, today. But so it's still, for me, I'm still not able to
struggle is real.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still not able to book full classes. So I'm not sure if anybody is. And if they are, all the more power to them. But I think those waitlist spots do move. I think there's a lot of complaints still. I've just been seeing a ton of frustration with that 2-hour window. I get it from both sides. I get the fact that Peloton don't want the spots being left open. They don't want, they want people to be able, correct. And they want to give more people an opportunity. I think a 2-hour window is tough, especially if somebody was saying that they got notification at 5:30 in the morning. And by the time they got on their email at 8, that's 7:30, 7:30 had passed, and they, missed their opportunity to get into a class. So not sure how they're going to, look at, changing that in the future. But I'm sure it's a work in progress for them. I'm sure they're definitely listening to member feedback, which I think is great, and just getting more and more people an opportunity to get into the studio. But there's no question the real way to actually secure yourself a spot is 6 weeks before on a Thursday at noon, and then obviously try and get any waitlist spots that you can. So, that's what's going on there.
All right. Well, Peloton instructor Cody Rigsby is the latest Lululemon ambassador. Lululemon shared the news via Instagram this week saying, "Consider our seatbelt fastened. Join us in welcoming our newest ambassador, Cody Rigsby, to the Lululemon X1 Peloton team. His energy turns every workout into a chance to be your best. That's a change we can get behind." And Cody joins now other fellow Peloton instructors who are also now Lululemon ambassadors: Eric Yeager, Hannah Frankson, Adrian Williams, Chelsea Jackson-Roberts, who were announced back in 2023. And then more recently, as well as Callie and Kendall, who were announced as brand ambassadors earlier this year. And then Peloton, just a little backstory, Peloton and Lululemon's 5-year global strategic partnership, which initially launched back September of 2023. It's been now ongoing. This partnership also designates Lululemon as Peloton's primary apparel provider and Peloton as the exclusive digital fitness content provider for Lululemon.
Yeah. So
hopefully
nice
we'll
see
see
Cody on there.
Maybe we'll see some big wall frame pictures of Cody at your local Lululemon store.
I'm sure Peloton members will love seeing that. I mean, I know that the one in Brookfield Place in down in
DC?
Tribeca. No, in Tribeca in New York has a big one of Kendall. That's really cool. Yeah. All right. Well, Emma Lovewell may potentially be teaching prenatal core classes. She certainly teased this in a series of videos that she posted to her Instagram story this past week, revealing that this is something members can look forward to in the future. She had started the post by discussing potential pregnancy modifications for rides, and then mentioned that she had been asked by members if she would teach any prenatal core content. She did go on to confirm that she will be offering some new classes that include all pregnancy-safe moves, although not releasing when exactly this would happen. She did also share, though, that she's currently going through a recertification process for pre- and postnatal fitness. So she had done this back in 2018. She had been certified. And she said that she felt that the recertification was timely and relevant, being
For
pregnant
sure.
herself,
Yes.
at this time. She did give advice as to what exercise should be avoided during pregnancy, saying that in general, one should avoid crunches and twisting, especially as the belly grows. The abs will actually separate, and that by doing crunches and twisting, this will make the separation worse. So if folks weren't aware of that, that's definitely something to take heed to. She also stated, which I did not realize this, that when one's belly gets bigger, lying on your back can actually be an issue with blood flow and can cause dizziness. So she recommended not to be on your back. So definitely look out for, maybe there'll be some standing core stuff for pregnant women. I love the fact that they're incorporating this type of content into the platform, and that folks can, just be cautious and careful when they are pregnant, but still want to be active and work out. I love this.
That's great. Well, we have the latest artist series, and it is from rock band Aerosmith. Peloton recently shared the news this week via Instagram, and the series all debuted this past Thursday, April 11th, with 8 classes across 5 modalities in English, German, and in Spanish. And all of the content occurred live, interestingly. Usually we have some premieres or on-demand drops sprinkled in there. But what we got, kicking it off with the German folk, Tobias Heinz had a 30-minute Aerosmith run, a 20-minute Aerosmith ride with Charlotte, which is also in German. Camilla had a 30-minute ride, which was in Spanish. We got a 30-minute ride from Bradley Rose, a 20-minute full body strength with Andy, which is intermediate, a yoga flow with Mariana Fernandez, which is 30 minutes, a 30-minute run with Rebecca, and then rounding it off on the row, we had a 30-minute one with Alex Karwoski.
Yeah, so I made it no secret that I'm no huge rock fan, but I do love Aerosmith. And it definitely does take me back.
Dude, I love it in the classes for sure on the rock playlist.
In the classes, it's great. So I didn't have a chance to take any of those. Actually, Mariana's class. I was able to take Mariana's class, which was great, but haven't taken any of the others. So definitely will jump on Bradley's ride at some point. All right. Well, German strength trainer Assal Arian taught her very first English-speaking class this week. It was a 20-minute Eid al-Fitr full-body strength class to commemorate the end of Ramadan. So for those folks that, have been doing her classes in German, I know that there are a ton of English folks that love her strength classes. You now get to do one in English, and hopefully that means that maybe there'll be some more English classes coming from her on the platform.
Nice. Well, Cliff Dwenger now has a new gospel ride series. So far, it's been pre-recorded, so it dropped as a premiere, but the first one came out this past week on Sunday, April 7th. He had a choir in the front row of bikes singing during the class. It's labeled as a 30-minute gloriously gospel ride. It's in German. And in the little preview picture, he's standing there with several gospel singers and big, bright orange choir robes. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be a regular occurrence. I didn't see any details about the next one or how often it's going to be, or if any of them are going to be live. It sounds like it'll be something that's pre-recorded, because obviously, if they have people singing, they want to produce it and put it together. Yeah.
Definitely something
pretty
fun.
Cool.
I haven't jumped on it yet, but definitely something fun for folks to be a part of. Awesome.
Yeah, I know there's a big, is it Peloton Christians for Peloton? There's a big page, a big group on Facebook for that. So I'm sure that'll be up their alley.
Yeah, for sure. We always like to bring you the this week at Peloton. So every week Peloton kind of gives you an idea as to what's coming out for that week, and then we like to just recap it for you as to what the past week had brought us. So for this week at Peloton, which was this past week, Peloton spotlighted some specific classes for members, which was the duration of April the 8th through the 14th. First, there was a new episode and the finale of a series 2 of Jon Hosking's signature At the Club series that happened on Thursday, the 14th. For those unfamiliar, Jon's At the Club features popular dance tracks with a theme. They are typically 30 minutes long and have a walk plus run format. So folks are encouraged to get on there from a beginner level right up to advanced, and you can kind of choose your pace. You don't have to, particularly follow the cues. He kind of gives you everything. Next, members had access to a new seasonal meditation with Rayburn. It's a 10-minute class which took place yesterday, the 13th, and focused on the spring season. Jenn Sherman hosts one of her signature classes, My Mixtape Rides, and that is happening today, Sunday, April the 14th at 10 a.m. This class will have members live in studio at PSNY.
Don't know what the theme is yet. It's she usually, obviously it's a few days before Sunday, and usually she might post her Instagram stories the night before yet. So I'm curious to know what the theme
actually
is.
Yeah. She did share, she had something that said, my mixtape is back. Join Jenn Sherman as you cruise to the new epic themed playlist. So that's kind of fun, and folks love those, those kind of sing-along stuff that Jenn does. So that should be great. And then finally, Peloton released 2 new focus flows for runners. The classes were taught by Mariana Fernandez and Denis Morton, and those dropped on demand on Tuesday, April the 9th. There was a 15-minute focus flow for runners from Mariana and a 10-minute flow with Denis Morton.
Nice. Well, Peloton Studios London, they're hosting another monthly outdoor shakeout run, 5K shakeout run. It's coming up April 16th. And those who wish to join, I haven't checked to see if the RSVPs are closed, because it's a free event, but you do have to RSVP to secure a spot. But Peloton had shared about the upcoming run on Insta. They said the London Peloton Run Club's now a monthly occurrence. They previously had ones in February and March, 1 RSVP per person. So so you have to have a confirmed registration. You have to have a signed activity waiver. And all levels, runners of all levels are welcome to participate. One thing to note, one little caveat: if you are participating in this month's run in London, because of the planned spring studio closure at both studios, you won't be able to store any of your personal items at PSL. So just keep that in mind. You won't have that option. I guess previous months you could throw your stuff in a locker because the studio is open that day. So just be aware of that.
That's actually a good point. Good tip. Yeah. And that, of course, comes right before the London Marathon, which is next weekend. So next Sunday will be the London Marathon. And then new week, new apparel drop. This past week, we saw the drop of the new spring apparel. Peloton had teased the release on Wednesday with the drop happening on Thursday. So just florally fun, new apparel out there. There's so much. there's anything
added to your cart?
No, nothing added to the cart. Nothing. I'm sure being in the studio this weekend, maybe one or two things will happen to get purchased. But
I've been saying I have one last referral code to use, and I was just looking at it last night, and I think it's expired.
Oh, Jon!
I mean, I held on to it for so long, and I'm not even gonna bother emailing them and saying, "Hey, can you generate me a new one?" Like, I've done that already. I feel like they've done that for me so many times before. So it is what it is.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
Well. Sorry, I got to start getting some new referrals. I've hit quite a drought with giving my referral code out to people that want to buy equipment.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I thought that I would be nice this week and take the Purge update. It's a pretty quick, light one.
It is.
So I figured I'd take that off your hands this week, Amanda. But Peloton recently purged 1 day's worth of classes recently. So this one happened on April 5th. They removed a portion of classes filmed on December 20th of 2020. This resulted in the removal of less than 10 classes from the on-demand libraries. Not a whole lot. But we also have a full list of classes that remain from December 20th, 2020 after the purge. There was about 12 of them. There was a Elvis Yoga Flow with Kristen McGee, an Adrian Williams hip hop run, a 60-minute epic sing-along holiday ride with Jenn Sherman, another Kristen McGee meditation, happiness meditation remained in there, and Sundays with Love ride with Ali Love, as well as a Selena Samuela holiday country run that survived, and Christine Dierkelay's 60-minute climb ride also remains there.
I'm sure we'll kind of see those tapering off now.
It feels like it's really slowed down
for sure
last month or so.
For sure. So I'm sure we'll probably have less and less to report back to you guys. Well, we weren't lying. There was not much in the news, and that is it for the news. But we will go right into instructors in the news.
It was Matt Wilpers. He was interviewed in Boston.com to talk about the title of the article is Q&A. Peloton coach Matt Wilpers finally has his sights set on the Boston Marathon starting line. Says an injury and COVID got in the way of the superstar instructor's first 2 attempts at running Boston. He talked a lot about, they asked him how he was not really into marathons previously and kind of what changed with, doing this now, taking on a marathon. And he said, I do marathons to push myself. He says you have to train for it. You can't just walk into a marathon. So that's motivating. He says the other thing too is that it seems to be something that really excites and inspires people. He says, my community specifically, and so anything I can do to excite and inspire them to go out and do big things and try something different and be athletic, that's what I'm here to do. And then one of the questions they asked was, when did you do your first marathon? And he said, my first marathon was in Long Beach, California, long time ago. That was my first one. And in that race, my mom came out. He said we flew out to California to race that. My sister and I raced our first marathons together. My mom ran the half marathon. And he says they mixed our numbers up. So my mom got my number and I got her number. And so she got one of the top placements for her age group because of the mix-up. And she got a check in the mail. And so she was all flustered. And he said they even wrote an article about her in the local newspaper. It was hilarious. So I thought that was a pretty funny story.
Yeah, I love that he shared that. I love that he shared that. That's awesome. Honestly, I don't work out with Matt often, but I have to tell you, I just am so in awe of him. I think he is, he's just so versatile in what he has to offer folks.
I really like him on the row, because he's very good about the technical and the form. On the bike, on the tread, as well as the row. And my form is definitely lacking on the row. So he's great there.
Yeah. I'm in awe of him.
Man. I don't know how some people. I don't know how some people get this. I need to recalibrate that form feedback.
No, you need to go into the studio and get to roll live and have one of them, really kind of show you what you're doing.
Yeah, one-on-one.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm in awe of him. I think he's amazing. I got to meet him in Atlanta, and I've seen him in the studio a couple of times, but never actually done a class with him. And he's just, as you say, a jack of all trades, and he's amazing, just amazing. And I can't say a master of none because I think he has mastered all of them. He truly is amazing. Well, our cutie with a booty, the chief of good vibes, Jeffrey McEachin, just happened to have the most awesome billboard up in Times Square on Wednesday as part of the Red campaign. So Jeffrey will be joining the Red team to run the Boston Marathon. So having just spoken about Matt, Jeffrey had shared that with members when he did his AIDS run a few months ago, and he had one of the Red team members actually in studio. And at the end of the run, he announced that he was actually going to be running for Red. And if folks are interested in donating, please do so. It's such an incredible cause. And yeah, he's really excited. I mean, talk about a machine. This guy is just incredible, having done, marathon after marathon after marathon this year. I mean, he set himself some pretty awesome goals, having just completed the Berlin Marathon. I can't remember if he's running London. Don't think he is. Don't think he's running London. Wait, Boston's this weekend? Is Boston this weekend? Oh, I think it may be this weekend. I don't know. All right. I'm sorry that I should have looked that up. But anyway, it was really cool. All the instructors had stuff on their social medias, having spotted him in Times Square. So
is it one of those digital billboards?
Yeah.
Or is it like one of those permanent physical? Okay.
No, I think it's a digital.
They're all kind of digital now.
It was his kind of face, with the QR code, and then obviously Red.
Gotcha.
Red was being sponsored on there as well, but it was really cool, and just so happy for him. He just deserves all these accolades. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, on the Brain Aneurysm Foundation's monthly webinar series, Peloton instructor Adrian Williams was a recent guest that joined them. And he was there to share his very personal story about his grandmother from 2018 when she suffered a brain aneurysm, and the difficult decision around that afterwards, having to take her off of life support because she had no brain activity. So it was a very touching and personal story, and we have a link to it if you want to watch the conversation on YouTube. It's posted there.
Yeah, amazing. And then for yogi fans, DT will be off the schedule for a little bit. She shared on Instagram that she will be heading to Africa for a wedding. And then she will be visiting with family after the studio closure. So she is going to be doing a safari in the Kruger National Park in South Africa. Of course, I asked her where else she was going. And she literally, I think the wedding is actually going to be on safari, which I think is so cool. She did say that she was going to share as much as possible on her social media, but she is not going anywhere else. And she said she definitely has to go back and find time to get down to Cape Town. She is then heading to Cairo in Egypt, where she will do some pyramid viewing. And lastly, chilling on the island of Mauritius, which is an island just off the coast of Africa. She did say, though, that she has pre-recorded tons of classes. So there will be new stuff dropping in her absence for those that love working out, like myself, with a DT.
All right. Well, Sam Yo was recently interviewed in Men's Health Australia. I guess they snatched him up for a little interview when he was down there for a visit. It's titled The Many Lives of Peloton Instructor and Former Monk Sam Yo. He talked about his time as a monk in a Buddhist monastery to training to become a Peloton instructor. He said he never expected his role with Peloton to grant him celebrity status, and he was hardly prepared for it. He said, before Peloton, I was never online. I had Instagram, but I was one of those guys who just posted random things like a flower, a nice meal, or the sunset. Credit where credit is due. Yo is not one to be easily overwhelmed and has risen to the occasion, becoming accustomed to the heightened attention. He says, I went from being in my own little bubble to being exposed to thousands of people in a class, which was strange at first, but the power of community and connection is the foundation of what we do at Peloton. And we have a link to that on Pelo Buddy, PeloBuddy.com, and also on the social media channels if you want to read the full write-up on men's health.
I will say, for those folks that don't follow Sam on Instagram, follow him. He definitely has learned how to use social media quite well.
Gotten better at it.
I do love his Instagram, because what he typically does is he will have a post, something relevant at the time, and then he always has a quote. So it's kind of a post, a quote, and then a post. And I love how his Instagram actually visually looks. Mine's a mess, but I love how
you mean his grid?
His grid is
okay.
just, his grid is awesome. But there's just some valuable, insight into what he shares on there. And, I shared last week that I got to hang out with him a little bit on a social level when I was in London. And he really is an awesome, awesome person. I saw a different side to Sam that I, you don't typically see in class. And he's just a really cool guy. So great that Men's Health were able to get that interview with him when he was down there. And good for him for being on PTO and yet still finding time to, get out there and give a little bit of himself, which is great. All right. Well, Peloton has been nominated for 2 of the 28th Annual Webby Awards in 2024. The Webby Awards describe themselves as the leading international award honoring excellence on the internet. The first award nomination is the video category for branded entertainment, health and wellness, and relates to the video Peloton made highlighting member Shantame Alexander. We had spoken about this incredible story previously on the show. So I am so thrilled that Peloton are in fact getting recognition for having put that together, because it truly is a phenomenal story, and the way that they did that, produced that particular segment was just incredible. The second Webby Award nomination is for the advertising, media and PR category, branded content, media and entertainment for TikTok fitness. So Peloton's partnership with TikTok. And, we've seen I know that Camilla Rahman has done some stuff with live classes with TikTok. And they're definitely trying to get more involved there. Voting is open now, and it will be until Thursday, April the 18th. I will share with you guys that it is not easy to vote. There are tons of categories, tons and tons and tons of categories.
You got to do a lot of scrolling.
And you have to do a lot of scrolling to find if you're going to look just for Pelotons.
Can you just Control F on your computer keyboard and just type in Peloton to? I
tried that. I was not able to do that.
No, okay.
So now I did do it on my phone. So okay. Let us know if anyone's successful. But if you can go, it's always nice to see Peloton, win something. So definitely make sure that you vote if you are patient enough to scroll through all the categories.
Definitely. Get the vote out. Well, Marcel Dinkins was recently on the local Memphis television station. She was on the Live at 9 show there in the studio. She's a South Memphis, Tennessee native. She was introduced as a former Division I athlete to Army Reserves engineer officer and now Peloton instructor. But she talked a little bit about overcoming her injury that had her sidelined for quite a while. And then she took the show host. She was in her, they were both kind of in their workout clothes. So she took they had, 2 yoga mats laid out in the studio floor, and she took the show host through some various warm-up movements on the mat. So it was a nice little, 6-minute talk and workout.
Nice. And then on Wednesday morning, Mariana Fernandez was featured on WPIX New York. on the New York living segment.
I used to watch WPIX growing up in
Did
New
you
Jersey.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Did you really? Oh,
Yeah,
look
Chuck
at
Scarborough
you.
and Sue Simmons. Yeah.
Oh, too funny. I don't remember the host's name. I apologize. But Mariana was on there sharing her yoga tips and practice. She conveniently got to be in studio with none other than the Chippendales, which added some humor to the segment. She was definitely very focused on getting her yoga out there. And it was kind of cute because WPIX ended up having the Chippendales do the yoga moves with Mariana. So they had a split screen of Mariana and the two hosts. And of course, the Chippendales to the side, tons of fun. Of course, I was only focused on Mariana, but
of course, right.
Of course. But it was kind of fun to have had them, do that both. She spoke about how she was just a tin man running. And when she discovered yoga and how yoga impacted, her running was, obviously amazing. And as we all know, it was a game changer. Shared about her mom being a marathon runner and that at 72, she is still running marathons, which is just amazing. Really cute segment. I think Mariana did an amazing job. And of course, they highlighted her being the first Spanish instructor on the Peloton platform. So she, started out with the yoga first. So it was nice to get to see that. And what I kind of laughed about was the host had said that, she used to do yoga in Spanish, and it was definitely her Duolingo in being able to learn some of the Spanish. I think she may be Spanish speaking. But the other one said, oh, well, I guess I can get a 2-for-1. I can get, Duolingo and workout at the same time in doing a class. So great segment. Awesome segment.
Hilarious. Hannah Corbin, she was recently interviewed on dancemagazine.com, and it was titled Star Peloton Instructor Hannah Corbin Returns to the Audition Circuit. She talked about wanting to combine the movement on camera with her love of theater. Now that my autoimmune disease is managed, Hannah said, I recently realized that I will regret not doing that. I realized recently that I will regret not doing that because it is still such a love of mine, talking about napping, taking naps. She did make it clear she's not leaving Peloton. I was curious to see, I wanted to see if she would mention what she's auditioned for, recently, but she didn't say anything about any of the recent auditions, just, talking about her style and the camera and everything that goes into it.
Good for her. All right. Well, Jess King will be part of Summer Stage Pride Disco, doing a DJ set on June 29th in New York City. She will be in very good company, sharing the stage with Trixie and Amanda Lepore. Tickets went on sale on Friday, so make sure that you get yours if you are interested in attending.
Right. And Tobias Hines gave some tips on running your first half marathon with InStyle. He said, number 1, plan enough time. 2, the right foundation. It's important you already have a solid running and sports foundation to work off of. 3, approach with a plan. 4, be well equipped. And 5, sick or injured, what now? He said, if you are sick, you definitely got to cure everything first. Now, this is translated from, it was interviewed in German. So
yeah,
this translation might be a little rough on some words here, but he says, definitely cure everything. If you start training again too early, the injury or cold will come back twice as strong and you will have to take an even longer break. He said, most important thing is to not start too quickly.
Nice. And lastly, Eric Jaeger. He was featured in Fitbook, a German magazine, chatting about the Berlin Half Marathon that he just did. The title of the article, What Does a Half Marathon Feel Like When You Come Out of Strength Training? Again, the article was in German, so I did not get to, I was able to translate it, but I did not get to kind of read through the whole article. But if you are interested, Chris has it up on pelobuddy.com, and you can certainly head over there to get to hear what Eric has to say about strength training and running a marathon.
Great.
And folks, that wraps up Instructor in the News. We will go right into class picks of the week, because that we do have lots of. There was, I guess, the fact that we had a live schedule this past week. There were tons of folks that gave us their picks of the week. So, John, why don't you kick it off?
All right. First up, Jocelyn Thompson rules 30-minute walk with Trent Alexander-Arnold from April 4th. Carl Smith, too, gave us this one. They said this interview and conversation was great. Fun to have a feature like this. And then Selena's 45-minute pop punk tread boot camp, also from the 4th. Rachel Blofeld gave us this one. They said fun playlist and great workout. And then Nico Serrani's 30-minute Jose Gonzalez yoga flow, which was in English, also from the 4th. Armajar 3 submitted this one, and she said, wonderful class.
All right, moving on to bike boot camps. Cody Rigsby's 30-minute bike boot camp. It was a full body on the 5th of April.
No, I finally got another one. It's like
10 a.m.
You
got to catch that one,
every
John.
3 months, we got to put our quarterly bike boot camp from Cody.
From Cody. All right, you got to catch that one. Well, it was
I did it as soon as I saw it that day.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah. I was all over it.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, Armajar 3, of course, and Tabata Be Hitting Me.
Tabata Be Hitting Me.
Yep, they both recommended this one. They said, playlist of my dreams.
All boy bands. Really good.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
all right.
and it was 2 songs from most of the boy bands he played. There was One Direction. There were 2 tracks from NKOTB, 2 from NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. So yeah, it was great. Awesome playlist.
Oh, that's awesome. Yep. Well, They said, and it was great to have another bike boot camp from Cody, so they think like you do. Then moving to the row, Katie Wong had a 20-minute 90s row, also from the 5th. This one also came from Tabata Be Hitting Me. They said, love her energy and had a great playlist. And what would we do without Armajar 3? Thank you so much for always giving us these amazing picks of the week. The next one did come from Armajar 3. It was Bradley Rose's 20-minute 90s ride, also from the 5th. Backstreet Boys, New Kids on the Block, Spice Girls, and more. So fun.
All right. Next up, Hannah Frankson, 45-minute 2000 pop ride from April 6th. Armajar 3. Armajar 3 gets around. She said, great playlist on this class. And then Chelsea Jackson Roberts, 60-minute yoga flow from April 6th from Real Hatha. They said lots of time to dedicate to hips opening and sinking in. And then Mila Lazar's 30-minute low impact ride, which was in English from April 6th from Armajar 3. R&B playlist. This was great and good to have an English class from Mila.
Nice. All right. Well, she has definitely been busy, because next up was Anna Greenberg's 30-minute deep house yoga flow. This one was also from the 6th, came from our friend Armajar 3. This yoga flow was water themed, and it was great. I do love her. I do love Armajar 3's versatility, that she kind of does everything. You know, she's like everything. It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, we love that you give us.
Gotta get the row though. Got to get some rows in there, Armajar 3.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe she doesn't have the row. We'll have to sort that one out. But Cliff's 30-minute gloriously gospel ride. It was in German from the 7th. This one came to us from Challen Creates and Sunny 194. They said the atmosphere was amazing. It also had English subtitles if you don't speak German. Huh? That's really cool.
Good to know.
Nice to know, yeah. Love the live choir and the positive energy dripping through the class. And then Charlotte Wiedenbach's 30-minute Power Zone ride. This one was in English, folks. It came to us from Rachie. It was on the 7th of April as well. And they said, Charlotte in English and Power Zone, what's not to love?
All right, next up, Christian Vande Velde's 45-minute pro cyclist ride from April 7th. Deb 8 and Stella the Diver submitted this one. They said, great to have CVV back. Very challenging, but also very enjoyable. And then Leanne's Extra 10 low impact ride from April 8th. Daisy Max submitted this one. She said, good structure with repeating, 100 cadence, 50 resistance. And then Benny Adami's 30-minute low-impact ride, which was in German from April 8th from Armature 3. She said just a solid, great low-impact class.
Nice. And then we had mentioned in the news, but Assal Arian's 20-minute Eid al-Fitr full-body strength class. This one was in English. It was on the 9th of April. It came to us from Paul Rides RT. This was Assal's first English class. Great chance to try her out if you haven't yet, as we said. And then Mariana Fernandez's 15-minute focus flow for runners, also from the 9th. This one came to us from Carrie FF. They said all of these focus flows for runners and riders are great. Hope we get them more often. And then Rebecca Kennedy's 60-minute hiking boot camp. It was a full body. It was at noon on the 9th. It came to us from S. Macau and Just Dance Lisa. So brutal, but so good.
I did it live, and man, I kidded Rebecca. I was like, it was good. And she goes, I know, it went on and on and on and on. But the nice thing was the segments, the tread and the floor segments were shorter.
Nice.
So it kind of didn't feel like they dragged, it was like almost like a song and a half, and then you were back on the tread or you went back to the floor. So it was nice. Like, it wasn't just like 3 long segments of each. She broke it up. It really kind of broke up the monotony of it. So
very nice.
It went by pretty quick. Yeah.
All
right. So Rad Lopez's 20-minute boxing boot camp full body, April 9th. Julie MJ gave us this one. She said, great theme, and had body punches plus body weight strength. And then Bex Gentry's 30-minute classical run from April 9th. Just Dance Lisa gave us this. She said music was awesome. Coaching was great. And Adrian Williams and Matt Wilper's 20-minute tag team row boot camp, glutes and legs from April 10th. Roger 801 submitted this one. They said the tag team classes are so fun. For this one, Matt actually taught the rowing while Adrian did the strength.
Nice. And then we had, to round them off, we've got Maddie Majacomo's 30-minute walk and talk. It was on the 10th. Matt 22 recommended this one, as well as me. And yeah, get on that tread with John Pruitt right there. And let me tell you, you work your butt off. Maddie makes it go by so fast. I mean, he is just hysterical, and the shit he comes up with that he talks about.
My favorite part of the talk was him talking about the earthquake happening.
Oh, hysterical!
And how it happened. How it happened in New Jersey, but New York tries to take credit, vice versa, and then all the things, all of the awful things you don't want to be doing during an earthquake.
I love that. Yeah, I found the cicada part. I mean, I just detest the cicadas, but the fact that he was talking about the gay cicadas, because I guess they just, want to do it with everybody, was hysterical. But yeah, so fun. And thanks for pushing me, John. I mean, I got to tell you, I guess,
thank you for keeping me on my toes, because I saw you, I usually have the whole leaderboard open to all. And I saw you creep. I'm watching, to see if anybody's trying to gain on me, creeping on it. So I clicked on you to see what your current, your elevation and your speed was. I was like, all right, I got to kick it up a little bit.
Look at you. Look at you watching me.
One point I thought, I'm going to let her get a little closer, maybe within like six output points of me. And then I'm going to take it to blow it out.
Screw you. Almost died at the end of it because I was dying. But I figured I needed to prepare for my 60-minute power walk with him in studio. It was fun. Yeah. It was really fun. You did bypass somebody because you ended up not being 9th and ended up being 8th.
Oh, I know. I totally screwed up. Yeah.
You were so busy focusing on beating me that you passed somebody else in the meanwhile. But that was a ton of fun. And that one, as Matt 22 said, the weekly walk and talks are always a highlight of my week. Yes, me too. I rarely miss a Wednesday with Maddie and the Magic Makers. Then came Alec Kowarski's 16-minute endurance row. Wow. This one came to us from Heidi 88. It was a class that was on the 10th as well. First 60-minute row that was recorded live.
My God,
so much fun.
That just sounds awful.
60 I
minutes
wish
on
we
the
had
row.
On the row, I know.
Oh my God.
But I wish we had Chris actually on the show, because I never ended up following up. No, I never ended up following up to see whether Alex ended up qualifying for the Olympics. Do we know?
Oh, yeah.
Remember, we spoke about it last week, and I don't
remember seeing a Pelo Buddy post about.
I also don't. Oh, we'll have to share that with you next week, folks. But I was just going to say maybe he was doing that, in practice for the Olympics. But 60-minute row, wow. All the more power to the rowers out there. And then wrapping up all the picks of the week for this week came to us from Just Dance Lisa. It was Camila Roman's 20-minute groove ride in Spanish, also from the 10th. And Lisa said, so much fun and dancing. So we had lots and lots this week, folks, and we do appreciate it. As we've said, it gives you an opportunity to find out about classes that you maybe would not have taken.
Yeah, maybe one or two that slipped through the cracks.
Definitely. I mean, there's so much content. So hopefully by us sharing these picks of the week with you each week, it gives you an aha moment like, oh, maybe I'll attempt a 60-minute endurance row.
No.
But definitely those boot camps. I got to get back into those boot camps. I don't know. I really like to work out in the morning.
That's what I love about the boot camps, because I always slack on just doing standalone strength classes, and the boot camps adds that in there for me.
I know. I was doing great with my strength, and then I started traveling, and I haven't gotten back into it. I promised Ben when I saw him in London that I was going to get to do his Stronger You 2 program, and I still haven't started it. I got to find some accountability here. So I've got to just do it. It's just such a vital part of my workout regime that I have to add in. So, yes. So thank you, folks, for giving us those. And I guess that wraps it up. As always, we so appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. I definitely feel a little bit more relaxed when Chris Lewis isn't on here, John. I have to say that. I get nervous when he's on here in case I say something wrong. But yeah, we miss you, Chris, if you're editing this and hearing what we have to say.
He's listening right now. I know
He's listening. But as always, again, thank you so much for tuning in, for listening. I'm looking forward to seeing folks this weekend in New York and getting to be with, I guess I have Maddie, Alex, and Mariana. So looking forward to that. And I guess we'll see you guys back next week. So
yes, everyone enjoy your spring closure while both studios are closed. I'm sure we'll still do a show. Might be a pretty light one.
Next week.
As long as we record. I'm heading to Vegas next week.
Nice.
I'm very, very excited to go. I'm seeing some concerts at the Sphere at the new venue there to see Fish. No,
Fish.
To see Fish.
Yes, Fish is now. Yep, U2's done. Fish is in residency.
Seeing 3 concerts in a row: Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. Yeah, so
all at the Sphere. At the Sphere.
They're doing 4 total, but I'm going to the last 3. Four concerts in a row. Just at my age, no.
Yeah,
it's too tiring. 3's more than enough. Yeah,
that's
super
awesome.
Pumped.
That's awesome. Well, be safe and have fun. But hopefully, When are you heading?
Friday to Monday.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, next Friday to Monday. Yep, going with my best friend Corey, who's in New Jersey.
Awesome.
He's rail trail rider on the leaderboard.
Nice.
But he's my friend who I've gone to probably 90% of concerts with Fish concerts with. So yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's my boy.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So for me
hopefully we'll
Michigan,
get a show in before then. Yeah.
For sure.
So hopefully we'll get a show in before then. All right, folks. Yeah. So I will sign off first because John likes to be the last word. So I will say thank you again for tuning in, for listening, for watching, and we will see you next time.
Yep. Thank you for watching, listening from all over. And as always, we will see you on the leaderboard. Bye for now.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.